a podium and a prison. So what's the difference, right? So a podium is where you're elevated, right? You're probably being heralded, you're probably being felicited or congratulated, right? So it's a good place in life. And a prison, well, literally, of course, a prison is a bad place to be. And also, in terms of the concept itself, all of us live in some sort of a prison or the other. It could be a prison in our mind, usually in our mind, of course. It's a prison of habits. It's a prison of situations. It could be a prison of the way you live your life, and so on and so forth. So you have these two things where we're always striving to be on the podium and away from the prison, right? The prison of life. So let me share with you a quote today. Epictetus in his discourses says, "A podium and a prison is each a place, one high and the other low, but in either place your freedom of choice can be maintained if you so wish." So your choices determine your life. Well, so when you think about it, so you have choice, right? You have choice and you have control over that choice. So when anything, like any event happens, and when you are faced with a situation and you need to make a decision, you need to make a choice, you need to choose between one path or the other, or one from multiple paths. The choice is really up to you. Now, people say, well, I didn't have a choice. Not really. I mean, there's always a choice. In absolute terms, there's always a choice. Even if you are, for example, on the edge of a cliff and you had to hold on for dear life. Let's say you slipped there and you're holding on for dear life. Did you not have a choice? No, I think you had a choice. You had a choice. So the choice does exist to let go and fall to the bottom of that ravine or to the ocean or whatever, or to continue holding on and see if you can survive. Now, I'm not talking about the morality of choices. I'm just saying that you have the choice. So I think going through life, we need to understand that a choice is a responsibility, right? So a choice is a burden, and you need to make choices according to a higher purpose, a higher truth, what is called as dharma, right? So when you're faced with a situation and you need to make a choice, think through what it means to make that choice. If people started making choices based on a higher purpose, a higher truth, I'm not talking religious, right? This is not biblical, this is not Hinduism or even Buddhism or whatever. This is just about the consequences of choices and how they affect your life. Now, I was talking in another video about there being no future, right? So there's only the present moment. And whatever future we think or we sort of think about is actually a present moment when you get to that stage. So it's a moment after moment after moment, and then you get to that moment, which is the future right now, right? In this moment, that might seem like the future, but it's actually just another moment when you get to that moment, right? So that is, of course, the truth, but there's always consequences. Now, this is a parody. Now, even though there is no future, our actions have consequences in the future. So in one moment in time, this would have a consequence. So let's take a simple example. We have a cup, right? Now, if I drop the cup and I shatter it, then the concept is that in the future, I will not be able to use it, right? So let's say tomorrow morning and I want to grab a cup of coffee, let's say that was the only cup in the house, then I will not be able to have a cup of coffee because I shattered it, right? So in the future, so this action has consequence in the future. But the choice that affects, so let's say it's not an accident and I have a choice here to safeguard the cup or to drop it and let it shatter. The choice is about what do I want to do with that particular thing tomorrow or in the future. So I know it's a boring topic to many. People are like, oh, come on, man, we go through life making choices. We can't think deep about every single choice we make. We can't just sort of, look at everything and say, can I make this choice? Can I not? And so on and so forth. But I think choices are something that we really need to think about. Let's look at business, for example. Every day you have to make choices about your business, right? If you're in business or your career. What is going to happen in the future based on the choice now, right? So whatever choice you're making for your business, think of the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, where 20% of our choices actually give the maximum benefit, 80% of the results, and 80% of the choices actually give 20% of the results. What that means is most of the time we spend making choices about business, where to spend our time, what kind of marketing channel to choose, what kind of brand name to choose, what our message should be, what our strategy should be. All these are choices, and these choices have consequences, and these consequences determine where our business is going to be and whether it's going to be successful or not. And I believe, and I've seen this through experience, that we spend most of our time making choices that actually give only 20% of the results. And that's why you will notice that, businesses across the world, brands across the world, they struggle to get to the next level. They struggle to make an impact. They struggle to connect with the audience. And that's because of the choices we make about each of the touch points of our brands, of our businesses. Now, I know I went from a philosophical kind of a quote and a philosophical point to branding and business and profit, but that's what life is about. I mean, look, philosophy by itself, yes, it has effect on life, but I think my audience, you, my friends, you're more interested in finding out how to better your businesses. And therefore, my perspective is always leading to business, to your brand, to what can really help your brand. So when you're thinking about a brand strategy, when you're thinking about a brand name, when you're thinking about a brand campaign, marketing, always remember this. Choices, you have a choice. You have a choice. Let's say you're writing an article to, I don't know, to promote your brand, right? So content, a part of your content strategy, you're writing an article. You have a choice on the topic to choose and the amount of effort you put in. You have a choice because on the one hand, you could say, well, you know what? Google looks at anything more than 500 words, and it'll be happy with it, and or 1,000 words, whatever it is. And you might say, well, I could actually just hire a cheap writer somewhere, a freelancer maybe. Now, I'm not dishing freelancers, right? I'm not dishing freelancers. But what I'm saying is that the word freelance has become so kind of, it's an open kind of platform, isn't it? I mean, anybody can do anything. And usually people are trying to cut costs in terms of the content they provide or the businesses that they run, and they go to a freelancer to save money. That has become the way of the world, and whether it's right or wrong is a topic for a different video. But okay, so you have a choice to say, should I get an article that is just nonsense? It's keyword stuffing and it's the minimum, and then post it on the blog just so that Google will notice it, or maybe Or should I spend either time if I'm good at writing, if I'm capable of that, or should I spend some money on hiring a good writer, someone who would spend time, who knows that sector, that market segment, that landscape, and spends time researching the topic, thinking through, and brings that kind of professional capacity to that article, and writes maybe a long form, 2,000-3,000 words, which not for the sake of Google, but actually help the target audience. This is an article which gives value to the target audience. This is a choice. And you know what most people choose? They choose the cheaper version, the cheaper choice, and the consequence is obvious, right? So why complain when your business is not growing, your revenue is not increasing, your target audience doesn't give a damn about your brand, they don't connect, they don't give 2 cents, and you're then lamenting and thinking, oh my God, why is this happening to my business? Why am I not growing? Anyway, enough of rambling. Always remember you have a choice. So do not skimp with your time or with your money. Invest in your business. Invest, invest, invest. Choices determine results and consequences. Till my next video, take care.